morning, Mountjoy Prison. Alright, hold the line there now.
Follow me now, please.
Dublin's Mountjoy Prison is one of Ireland's largest prison facilities.
Lighting 2 out to the yard!
A part of the landscape for over 160 years, the Joy has become synonymous with the capital city of Dublin, operating 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. With over 750 inmates, over 700 staff, and 8 prison governors, it's a city within a city, where drugs are common currency.
Something in the hand there, look. Just there.
And the threat of violence is a fact of life.
Give me more! Yeah!
Hidden from the public gaze, hardship, humour, heartbreak, and humanity live side by side within these walls.
Well, that's swanky, eh?
This series lifts the lid on life inside Mountjoy.
Leading smoke.
From the governor's boardroom
For those of you who aren't aware, we did have a death in custody. That chap passed away.
to the prisoners on the landing,
Prison is a dangerous place, you know. It's a hellhole.
to the punishment block.
Yeah, I know you'll box that off me. You're gonna have fun trying anyway.
We gain unprecedented access to the inner workings of this notorious Irish jail. This is the Joy. It's 8:15 a.m. and the jail is about to come to life as staff get ready for the morning unlock.
C2, C3, good to go. Right, lads, unlock the sea. Morning. All right, man.
Mountjoy Campus Governor Brian Murphy is on his way to Seabase, a special landing where all new prisoners spend their first night in the Joy.
How are you? Thanks. How you doing? I wasn't the governor here when you were in prison before, was it?
No, you weren't, no.
Okay.
I was a ball boy back in the day.
And you're still a ball boy. You picked up new charges there.
I know, yeah. Just sort of keep slipping through the radar, messing up.
So this sentence now is for 9 months for possession of knives and other articles, is it?
Yeah,
You have other charges pending as well?
yeah.
So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 court days. Okay, so you're it looks as if you're going to be with us for a while.
Was you for a while, going,
I suppose the whole idea of the committal unit is to give people, especially vulnerable prisoners, the first night, the first 24 hours can be very daunting, and it's just to get them customised, acclimatised. Now, is it Soren or Mikhail?
Mikhail.
That's on your warrant. When you were here before, you were called Soren.
Yeah. You first knew me false.
Was a fake name before.
The first name was false. Okay. The difficulty we have is that we're the committal prison for the Dublin area. We're taking all the committals when the courts are on. And we could have upwards of 18, 19 committals a day. And our numbers at the moment, because we have one division closed, keep going up and up and up. Did you bring drugs into the prison, Richard? Why do I not believe you?
Huh?
Why do I not believe you? You're not very convincing.
It's not my choice.
You're not very convincing.
Look at this fella. He's going to attack me, I think. Yeah, say what puss I'm going.
Back on C1 landing, morning is well underway and staff are busy dealing with prisoners' requests.
I don't think we really have any say in who goes up to Patrick's, you know. That's... Go on to mop that up there, Mr. Lynn.
Prisoner James McCardle is the cleaner on the C1 landing and has just completed a drug-free programme. He's now hoping to get a transfer to the training unit, a semi-open facility on the Mountjoy campus.
There's courses over there and all there is, and just give the clean urine, you're allowed to stay there, dirty urine, that's it, your frog marks back across there, yeah. They're basically not even cells I heard over there, yeah. they're basically like bed sits there, like that, like proper, like little rooms, like, you know what I mean? And it's what you want before you get out, like, you know what I mean? Like, just, like, it's like settling into an open environment when you think about it, you know what I mean? I'm doing great, I'm like, I've 9 months left there with 3.5 years. I got sentenced to 7 years of it, yeah. For property, yeah. It was just done it because of drugs, like, you know what I mean? It's out my face and bleeding cocaine, it was, yeah. Decided to run to a shop and hold it up, like, you know what I mean? Something stupid. Like, I was taking that blade and cracking everything out there, it was, yeah. I was glad I actually got the sentence in a way, like, because even my family, I'm always saying, like, if you hadn't got that sentence, you were going to be found dead somewhere, like, you know what I mean? I had to get off everything in here because I was smashing the cell up and all, like, because I was taking tablets and I was doing too much thinking and I was a little bollocks, I was, yeah. I twisted up every day of the week, dragged down into reception and all, just poured onto the block and all. That's why I had this job now, like, just to keep my head together, like, you know what I mean? Just keep your head down and just get on with the work, like, you know what I mean?
It's midday, and new committals are arriving thick and fast. All prisoners committed to Mountjoy have to pass through reception.
Now, just take a seat here.
This is a screening area where prisoners are logged onto the prison books and searched for contraband, including drugs, weapons and mobile phones. Important currency amongst prisoners.
Now, the reception staff will look after you there.
Today is an historic day. We have now moved on, after donkey's years, to tracksuits for the prisoners, whereas before we used to have jeans, shorts and jumpers. We're still using white fronts. We will eventually get around to boxers and sports socks, but I'd probably be retired before that happens.
Officer Larry O'Reilly has been working in Mountjoy reception for over 10 years. Many of Ireland's most notorious criminals have passed through his screening area.
1.83.
This, I think, is where the reality sets in, where they have to come here, because it's a whole new experience from having your freedom to be incarcerated, basically being told what to do, when to do it. Now, what have you got? Sit down properly.
Not too fast. Relax down straight.
They will still try and beat the machines, but we don't find as much as we did originally because they now know the machines are in place. Back up. They can hide a mobile phone on their body. Basically in their body, yeah. We've had fellas here with it put off the chair, to put off the machine. They're that used to putting stuff up there. It's second nature to some of them. It's something basically that'll fit. It's built for comfort. There's the cigarettes, you know the crack, there's no smoking it. It's a game. We catch them with something, we discover a way of stopping it, they find a new way of doing it, and it just keeps going. It's the circle, keeps going round and round and round.
Back in there in 5 months, what can I do? You're living a dirty shoe.
Violence and volatility are an unfortunate fact of life in Mountjoy, but some prisoners pose a higher risk than others. C Wing currently has a prisoner with a history of mental health issues and extreme violence towards staff and other prisoners. He uses improvised weaponry to carry out his attacks. For any activity outside of his cell, he has to be handled by the control and restraint team.
You get Jackson all there, officer?
Yeah, it's in your cell.
The cell we have him in on C1 at the moment, he has to be fed 3 meals a day. That takes up 4 staff in riot suits, plus it takes an ACO to supervise it, plus it takes an officer, because all times the cell door is opened, it's recorded on video. So it does take up quite a lot of staff and it does take up a lot of time. Morning. How are we fixed there? Is it ready to go?
The prisoner will soon be moved to the challenging behaviour unit, commonly known as the block. This is where violent and unruly prisoners are housed.
No, I think they've tightened them all up, yeah.
For this prisoner, a specially modified cell is being prepared for his arrival. It is the first of its kind in Mountjoy.
All right. Thanks a million. It's been refurbished as regards the cistern here being secured to the wall. Normally we had porcelain systems, but he would break them and use them as weapons. Behind you there you can see the TV secured behind a secure panel. Also on the door, we have an area on the door now that we can give him in his food and anything else that he's entitled to in the cell through this hatch. He's a lot of time in the cell, and he's a lot of time to find ideas, pick at things. The likes of the wooden areas over there now, he could pick at that, toilet areas, things that we're not sure of yet, but it's up to us to make sure that the cell is checked every day and that he doesn't improvise and make weapons that can damage staff members or outside agencies.
And the fire, no incident, no prison, lads.
All right, thanks, lad. See you later. Okay, thanks. All right, you know what you're in for?
Mountjoy campus is one of the busiest prison facilities in Ireland. It's also one of the biggest, housing 4 institutions. As well as the main prison, there is the Docus Centre, Ireland's largest women's prison, and the training unit, a semi-open facility designed for prisoners reaching the end of their sentence. Adjacent to the main prison is Mountjoy West, formerly known as St Patrick's Institution. It houses over 160 prisoners. This facility is home to the main protection wing on the campus, for inmates who have been separated from the prison population for safety and security reasons. Mountjoy West Governor Kavanagh is constantly playing a game of cat and mouse in a bid to reduce the level of drugs in the prison.
It's bad luck to spill salt. It's bad luck to spill salt. Yeah, but it's not filled, it's still in packets.
And today, one prisoner is being investigated for allegedly receiving drugs on a visit.
A man has it in here in his right hand. It's handed over in a handshake and then placed on the back of his trousers there.
Has he any history getting drugs before or been involved in drugs?
None that I've seen, he has very, very few P19s.
The prisoner now has to sit through a disciplinary hearing, known as a P19. If he's found guilty, he stands to lose prisoner privileges.
That's you there,
yeah? Yeah, that's me, Irish. I'm stretching my arse, that's all.
Did you get any in?
No, I don't take drugs.
Okay, you don't have to take drugs in order to get drugs into prisons. We're not that naive around here. I'm going to go off and view the CCTV, okay?
Yeah,
and then I'll reconvene the report after that again, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you put it somewhere else other than that bleeding cell in it? It's freezing.
Look at getting the heat turned on, but you're there for the moment until I deal with this P19, okay?
Mountjoy West's D-Wing is its primary landing for protection prisoners. Due to ongoing threats of violence, many of the prisoners on D-Wing cannot mix. This has resulted in a colour coding system by which various gangs or factions are identified.
Hello, Delta 3. Yeah, no, when are they coming up to us? So we can take them up whenever we're... I think so, yeah.
Prison mirrors what happens in society on the outside. There's serious gangland culture and fighting. We have all the gang members in here, belong to all the different factions. If they fall out with each other outside, they'll fall out with each other here. If something goes wrong on the outside, it'll go wrong in here.
Mr. Brown, are you sending the group down first? We send them down. Are you going first?
The challenge for D-Wing staff is providing the access for prisoners to the various facilities without letting the different colours meet.
We can't let them mix with these, so we just have to hold tight until these are fed. We've 3 protection groups here, greens, yellows and pinks, and none of them mix. Logistically, it's a bit more difficult as we're all in the one wing and we have to get the prisoners from the yard up through 2 other landings, and likewise with the school and the gym, and for feeding as well. So it makes it a little bit more difficult. Yeah, lock them up and we'll let out the yellows for feeding first. Right, lads, you falling in there? Yeah? All right. Right, lads, falling in there for a minute. You're putting on the big act now, come on. Where are you going? Yeah, you're out for feeding there. I would say, having worked on different landings in the last few years, that it is a bit more challenging. With different groups, you have to be aware of who can mix with who to make sure there's no fighting. I've seen cuttings, weapons being used, from shanks, blades to brushes, mops, anything they get their hands on. There was one situation on D1 maybe 2 years ago. They had used plugs, swinging plugs, to attack each other. So you just have to step in. Obviously, we wait for a few staff, strength in numbers, but there is always the possibility that staff will get injured if there's blades or any sort of weaponry involved.
Prison is a dangerous place, you know. If you're weak, you won't last, you know what I mean? You have to be tough, you know what I mean? It's a dangerous spot, you know. There's a different breed of prisoner, there's different gangs, you know what I mean? And that's the way it is. It's a hellhole.
Who doesn't say crime doesn't pay?
Prisoner Michael Ellis is serving a 4-year sentence for theft and is currently housed on D2 landing of Mountjoy West.
I'm 38 now, you know. I first came to prison when I was 16. Grew up in a disadvantaged area, you know, where, you know, there was nothing much for us, you know what I mean? So, just ended up in crime. There's no respect, you know, anymore. I want to, you know, you'd have all the young fellas running around, you know, and there was an older prisoner, you'd have respect for it. You know, there's no honour amongst thieves.
Right, Doc Hunter. Here's your washing, right? Here's your washing.
It's just a whole waste of life, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's just a mug's game, really, do you know what I mean? You know, I'd love to be out there, I'd love to be out to just get a job, you know, just work as like the normal people, as they say. Please God, this is where it's all gonna end. You know, I just wanna get out now and I just wanna, you know, be a father and bring up my daughter the best way I can, you know. I done wrong, you know, I'm here, I'm doing my time for it, you know. And, you know, I just want to get out, you know.
This is where he reaches around. The officer's up here.
Yeah.
So you want to see both of them looking to the right.
Back in the Chief's office, Governor Cavan is reviewing the CCTV footage of the prisoner suspected of receiving drugs on a visit.
Ready to go.
That's panned over there in the pan.
Very often they'll put their hand up and say, listen, I got the stuff in, sorry about that. But this guy is actually very insistent that he got nothing in. And it has to be dealt with. I mean, it seems just the last couple of weeks that there's more people being caught, or there's more attempting, or we're just being lucky. I viewed the CCTV in conjunction with looking at the stills, okay? I'm absolutely confident that an article passed between yourself and your visitor. Absolutely, no point in shaking your head. You know you did, I know you do. It's absolutely 100% clear on the CCTV, okay? Chief, that visitor will be barred from the prison, okay? Before the notice. Okay, and you'll be subject to screen visits from here on in, okay?
Hidden in the heart of Dublin City is the closed world of Mountjoy Prison. Governed by the rules of the prison and the unwritten code of its prisoners, the Joy can be a dangerous place for both inmates and staff.
We're up there in the good with you. It's in the bag already. Just leave that stuff there.
Today, a prisoner with a history of extreme violence who arrived from the Central Mental Hospital is being moved to a special cell in the block. Due to the threat he poses, the move must be carried out by the control and restraint team in full riot gear.
They don't seem him suitable to stay in the CMH. They say he's okay to go back to prison. That's where the warrant is made out for, so we have to deal with him. No, we can open the hatch now. There's a hatch in the door. The officer's, listen to me, the officer's going to open the hatch, right? You put your hands out, we'll take the handcuffs off. Okay, stick your hands out there. Handcuff keys, please. The hatch on the door is going to ease the pressure staff-wise a little bit, because when we're feeding a breakfast, dinner and tea, it can be simply through the hatch. I need you to give me out the lighter now that you're smoking, okay? Okay, put your lighter on the hatch. He's also entitled to exercise. He would be allowed tuck shop orders like other prisoners, he'd be allowed to make phone calls like other prisoners, and he'd be allowed to have visits like other prisoners. Unfortunately, it's just every time he's out of the cell, it's staff and rights just to have to deal with him for their own protection. Mr. Sherry, let me in, please. This is the exercise yard that he'll have. Prisoners that are down here for a certain amount of time out of the system, they get their exercise here, a minimum of an hour a day, and on their own. We're rarely full down here, but we do have it open. There's always somebody down here, but we're rarely full. So it's good and bad in some ways.
For those of you who aren't aware, we did have a death in custody. That chap passed away yesterday morning.
At the daily management meeting, the governors and prison chiefs are discussing the pressing issues facing the prison. Today, the growing problem of protection prisoners takes centre stage.
Chief?
Break down the protection numbers. C-Base, we have 8. We've 1 in the medical unit. We have 12 in C-Base West, 12 in C-West, and we have 72 in D-West. Campus total of 105 protections.
It's 105 now.
We've 8 fresh in for interview this morning, Governor, so hopefully the majority of them will be going today.
But they need protection.
Well, if they need protection, it causes them more problems. We fill up again.
Mountjoy Prison has been undergoing major refurbishment since 2011.
What?
Of the 4 wings in the prison, D Wing is the last to receive its makeover. With numbers tight, the prison needs this wing back in action as soon as possible.
Since the refurbishment project started, we now have single cell accommodation within cell sanitation, and that in some ways has put a cap on the numbers that we can only fit 1 prisoner now into a cell. Before this, we were putting 2 and 3 people in, sleeping on the floors and all that sort of thing.
How are we doing, lads? Any requests this morning?
Up until 2013, some Mountjoy prisoners still had no access to in-cell toilets. They were forced to slop out in cramped conditions, with up to 2 to 3 inmates per cell. Chief Trades Officer Donlan is the man tasked with overseeing the refurbishment of D-Wing.
It's completely different compared to what it was years ago. It was messy, it was dirty, it was overcrowded. The smell from the slopping out was something else, and everything now that we've done will be just a great improvement and not before its time.
At the moment, we have capacity for 554 prisoners. We have 552 prisoners in the system this morning when I came through the gate. When that division comes back on stream, we'll have another 160 single cells. But at the moment, since I'd say January when the courts resumed, we have been operating at 100 and over 100% capacity.
Back on C-Wing, prisoner Ronnie Emmett is preparing to cut a fellow inmate's hair using his own equipment.
I don't know how much I say, the prison service on your haircuts and all, yeah?
Thousands. So I've done 50 haircuts a month for a tenner a haircut.
Yeah,
that's 500, that's, what much is that? 500 quid, is it? That's $5 grand, isn't it, a month? 50 tents.
50 cans, 5 grand, yeah?
Yeah.
Ronnie is the unofficial barber on Sea Wing.
I'm cutting hairs about 14 years, like, just from prison. Just tried it out one day on my cellmate. He asked me for the skinhead. And I says, I'll try and give you a proper haircut. Most of the lads won't let anyone else cut their hair.
I wouldn't let anybody else cut me hair either.
Should be making a living at it at this stage.
They're going over today, okay? The government's pulled the strings for you, so don't let her down.
Just outside, prisoner James McCardle has received some good news about his request to transfer to the training unit.
What are we going to do? I'll have to get another good trainer now.
You won't get any other like me.
No.
Are you unenhanced?
He is unenhanced.
Okay. Alright, you'll go later today when there's a vacancy, alright?
Ginger, going today, Jan. They're going? Training unit. Where are you going? Training unit, got it in all of this. What? Oh, so.
When are you going to training unit, Jimmy?
I'm now bleeding halfway, but after 2 a few people's getting out to the unit to the turn, so I'm down, we're coming.
Okay, you haven't long left now, huh?
10 months or something, yeah. They were training and half, yeah.
On the pig's back, yeah.
Then a bender. Here you go.
Into a shower now, a bit of gel. Bada bing, bada boom, you know what I mean?
So that was £6 for a thing of gel in this.
No, yeah. Blink your bleeding heart, yeah.
Here you go, elected.
Like, you need to be in a safe environment. You need clean time ahead of yourself. If you're only after doing a detox, like going to the training unit, it makes you feel like you're after achieving something.
I said it to Kelly, so listen, yeah, see the old side, there's been no cooking, there's been no course about me, man, I've been on that day when running the muck over it.
I came in here doing 9 years, I was doing 4.5 and I got another 4.5. I came in addicted to heroin and I walked out that gate addicted to heroin. There was hardly no help in the prison then, no rehabilitation, no incentivised programs. You know, they're learning to deal with drug problems now. They're realising that drug problems is the source of crime. You know, people aren't addicted to crime, they're addicted to drugs. And it's only when they're taking drugs that they're out committing crime. The majority of people. Do you want one ACO, Sullivan?
I'll leave it, thanks very much.
You leave it today, yeah?
I'll leave it for the time being. Because you're a bit busy now today, so you know yourself.
ACO Sullivan's not the worst there, he's not. Just go around the locks and all that, yeah?
Get you looking nice now with boys out of training.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Bit of fresh meat, huh?
Your trousers there, the arse cut out and fire we have there, yeah?
Yeah, man. If you pull down and let him in there, he can start taking off his, you know?
With hundreds of mouths to feed across the campus, the Mountjoy food stores are constantly being stocked with outside supplies, all of which are subject to security screenings.
I'll give you empties. At the moment, you're feeding 475 in the main jail. You have in St. Pat's, you're feeding around 170, and in the Docus, 120, give or take, and down in the training unit, around 96. You have a lot of people in there on special diets, which is like vegetarian, gluten-free, or you have Muslims, which are halal. Like everything comes in fresh. Some people say it's cushy, but it's not. It's fizzy. That's it? Yeah, that's it. That's the yeast. That's the yeast we use in the bakery for the bread. Well, we can't let that go down into the loading bay or it goes missing. It's one of the key ingredients for hooch. All right. Morning. Come on, Chief.
No, lads, throw your fish at the beans, all right?
The main prison kitchen is open 7 days a week from 7 a.m.
Time to give that mix, Mr. H.
Prison staff and inmates work side by side, feeding hundreds of prisoners 3 meals a day.
Now, lads, we'll work on these pies next, okay? There's prisoners here on a work and training programme. Normally we have around 15 to 20 prisoners working here. You know, the day goes quick. It's beats standing out in the yard or on the landing all day. You're doing something that's productive. You do build up a good relationship with your team, you know. You have to have that, or else you won't get the full potential from them, you know.
Kitchen workers have to be drug-free and trustworthy. This is the only area in the prison where inmates have access to knives.
We've been safe in the office, and that's locked at all times. So if a prisoner needs a knife, they'll come and ask you, you'll issue the knife to them. And you get the knife back. But there's never any issues, it's always, you know, same time you have to be careful, obviously. You can leave that there. All right, Sergi. So.
Back on C Wing, James is in high spirits after being accepted for a transfer to the training unit.
Hey ya! I'm in the area with the boys driving around on big buses down the lane. I seen an addict sticking needles in his arm. Doesn't know he's causing harm. Boys are smack in the barn. Taking snips straight to the head, straight to the brain, and going insane. I'm robbing a bike and straight to clean. Now I'm completely off the drugs, getting hugs. Not me ma, not me board. I used to always wonder why, then I would. What the fucking government? Just fucking sad. Daughter outside some cock with an extra rock. Break that back. Hear the small snap, make a bite that pat. Hear the skull crack. Shut your mouth talking crap. Shut your mouth, catch. Hey ya! I ran out of breath there, boys.
James McCardle! James!
Yeah, water you need, man.
I hope you don't let us down.
James has one last hurdle to overcome before his transfer can take place.
Before they go to the training unit, they have to give a clean urine. So a sample will be taken off him and tested. And once he's clean, he'll move on to the training unit. So it's a step in the right direction for him. He seems confident enough, so we'll know in a few minutes whether his urine's clean or not.
In Mountjoy Prison's C Wing, prisoner James McCardle has to pass a urine test to complete his transfer to the training unit, a semi-open facility on the Mountjoy campus. But there is a problem.
Unfortunately, James couldn't go at that time, so he's gone off now to have a few more drinks of water. Sometimes the boys can't go on the call of duty, but he'll be back and he'll go again. So.
Well, I was there, look, we can't piss in front of people, just like most people, yeah. Fucking a shy bladder that leaves stage right, whatever the fuck it's called, yeah.
James must now wait an hour and a half, locked in a cell during dinner time, before he can try again to provide his urine sample.
Not to see. How are you fixed? Are you ready to go?
My legs crossed the last hour and a half.
Okay. Surgery, come in, please. C division. Yeah, we'll do. Now, Sergi. C division.
Playing your line, you want.
Good man, happy days.
It's spotless it is, yeah? I'm fucking delighted now with that, yeah? I'm seeing a thumbs up, we're just delighted, yeah? But I'd say my ma's gonna be more happy, you know? My ma'll be more happy. But we see the way I am now. The drug had never given me this high. Now the butterflies and all had me stomach. The drug had never given me this high. Now that I know what the coming this far, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. All I can just say is, how do we do it, man, didn't I? How do we fucking do it?
You sweet.
Back in Mountjoy West, prisoner Michael Ellis, who's been in and out of prison since he was 16, is attending school on the D Wing.
the story that we did, and we were doing what happened next, right at the end of the story.
This is a makeshift school for protection prisoners, as the main school is out of bounds for safety and security reasons.
Is that the deal?
That's the deal.
Oh, okay, that's the deal. Well, okay.
At the moment, I'm sitting out my leaving cert, you know, and so I go to the school every morning, every afternoon. I only went to primary school, you know, so I'm just catching up with my education while I'm here. He suddenly showed his foot down hard on the accelerator. He did not see the woman crossing the road. The school down there is only a small school. It's only a few cells smashed down. There's 3 different classes in here. The boys are there doing their junior cert, and then there's a wood burning class down there. And then the boys are trying to do all the art classes here. Just stuck in this little room, do you know what I mean? And it's very hard because this is the best things we have to do in here. You can't tear the thing, you know, but it's prison. You make it happen. The leader of the group says nothing can be watched by BMW.
Nothing.
Nothing the ladder.
Take your time. You're guessing.
No, I want to try and achieve something. I want to try and get, you know, a good CV together. I want to try and get all these things done now, you know. I'm 38, I know that, but, you know, there's still a chance, do you know what I mean? Nothing can catch a BMW.
Again.
Nothing can catch a BMW.
Yeah, that's it. Do you want me to read the next bit or do you want? Will I go the next bit?
No, I'll read it after. Okay, yeah, no problem. Wait.
A prisoner who was part of a group involved in an aggravated burglary, where the victim was sexually threatened, is currently housed in Mountjoy West.
Jerry, that inmate that's behind the door. Are you free up there? Are you locked up?
Due to a newspaper article shedding light on the crime, this inmate is now under threat from the other prisoners. Inmates take a hard line when it comes to anyone, even remotely associated with sexually violent crimes. ACO Fogarty must inform him that he is now a PAO, protection from all others prisoner, and will be kept behind a door for 23 hours a day.
You're in for a couple of things. All the other inmates are after finding out. You're now under serious threat. That's why you're behind the door now. You won't be mixing with that group.
Money in on that paper.
You're telling all the others that was you in the paper.
This says that I didn't do it.
I'm not here to judge you whether you did or not. That makes no odds to me. Now, you're under serious threat because of that.
Yeah.
You know, there's no point bluffing around because it's your life, it's your face that's going to get cut, not mine. Any other issues, you can see the ACO there, but you're behind the door. Under no circumstances does he need to be unlocked. He doesn't mix with any group. Okay? Doesn't mix with any group. Bed behind the door. The best solution is to try and get rid of him to another jail where he's not known. That in itself would be a challenge. You know, because it's something that may follow him. The story may follow him around the country no matter where he goes.
Right, James, bring it with you, Will. Proper reception.
Come on, James, look at the crap out of our legs.
Having passed his urine test, James has finally been approved for transfer to the training unit.
On the reload, please. 2653 for load.
James McCartan there, lads.
26 or 24.
When he was first brought down for the urine, he said he couldn't go, which is natural. It could have been a bit of stage fright, we'd say. But sometimes it's an indication too that they might have something to hide.
Give me your signature in between those two there.
Just now, in fairness to James, he was given an hour to drink some water, and he went in and gave a clean urine, and he came out happy. So hopefully everything will work out well for him from here.
All right, James, take care, man.
No problem, yeah.
As far as I'm aware, there's 3 going over this evening. So he's one of 3 lads clean heading to the training unit. But in fairness to James, now he's just come back from doing a drug-free course in the medical unit, and he's moving on the right direction, so hopefully he won't come back. I'll be back in a second. Are you here for a while? Will you give me your name? I'll call out to your office.
Management have made a tough decision regarding visits for D-Wing prisoners in Mountjoy West. They're hoping it will tackle the massive drug problem in the prison head on.
This is our visiting box, as you can see. Up until today, these screens weren't up there. Okay, they were open. Now they're all screened. So they're screened from the top to the bottom. I absolutely believe in good family contact, but we must balance that against the security and the safety of the prisoners and the staff that work here. You know, because the level of contraband, in my view, and information I have on the D division here, all our protection prisons had hugely escalated, and there was a lot of prisoners going around stoned out of their head, basically. And one of the reasons for that was the open visits and the amount of contraband coming in. I would expect some sort of reaction. People might get quite upset, quite annoyed, and we may have a difficulty inside in the prison. But we have to take that chance, and we have to deal with that when it happens, if it happens. Yeah, I'll come out now. You just go ahead.
There's been a serious assault in the school on D-Wing.
Stay back. I'll talk to you in a minute. I'm back over there. Not sure what happened here yet. I'm not sure if it's related to our visit situation. Possibly not. I'll get a briefing from the chief there now when things calm down. Okay. What happened there?
You got hammered in the school.
Just a few minutes.
Got hammered in the school there. Just went from.
Was just the two in it?
Just the two in it, yeah.
Was there any weapons involved?
No. Okay, I'll save the footage now and just see what happened.
You go straight in. They knew exactly what was going on, so they all followed in. There's the perpetrator coming in. He walks straight down to the person he wants to fight and starts boxing. Pulls him off a chair, starts kicking. Your man didn't know what was hitting him. Staff were called. He still carries on. Through the table on top of him.
What's he actually hit him with, man?
Just hit him a punch. Yeah,
Well,
there doesn't seem to be a weapon at all. I looked at as he walked in.
That's a day in the life of the prison. Not to this intensity every day. I'm not sure if that incident was a result of drugs intoxication or a result of a vendetta. But that's the type of incident you have when people are regularly on drugs. The people who are involved in it, one of the guys gone to hospital. The other guy will be dealt with by the staff. He will be on a P19 for attacking another prisoner. And will be dealt with by me and another governor on a report tomorrow morning.
I heard it's meant to be alright, I've heard alright, yeah. Need to change the scenery, you know.
For the first time in almost a year and a half, James is leaving the closed prison environment. In the training unit, he will enjoy greater privileges, but to keep his place there, he will have to remain drug-free.
Which way?
No, next one. Keep going, yeah. Room 10, yeah.
No. Yeah, look at this compared to the main jar, man. Fuck's sakes, man. Look at this, man. Yeah, this is cushy and a half, man.
This one key. Don't lose that.
Mr. Drum, innit?
Yeah, Mr. Drum, yeah.
Yeah, it was worth all the work in the end, it was, yeah. I haven't seen a fucking proper cunt in about bleeding 15 bleeding months or something, you know what I mean? Fuck's sakes, like, you know what I mean? Being in this will get you ready for society, like, you know what I mean? Because this here alone, like, this room is like a bedsit when you think about it, like, you know what I mean? Making you fucking think that you're on the outside, like, at least, you know what I mean? Yeah. Want more, like, can you bleed an axe for, like, you know what I mean?
Next on The Joy. As the prison reaches maximum capacity, tension on the landings reaches boiling point, with violent consequences for prisoners and staff.
Okay, who's going where? What commander?
It's very, very serious at this stage. We believed there was 2 blades involved, so as to do as much harm as possible to our colleagues.
We come to work and we are not sure whether we'll be going home at 8 o'clock. You know, that's a given with the nature of the job.